So I'm going to be reading my manifesto now. So, who am I? I'm Isabella Mendez, and I'm not quite sure of who I am. I come from Los Angeles, California, and that's pretty much the only fact that I know about myself. I smile a lot, I laugh a lot, I cry a lot, I complain a lot, and I constantly express the fact that I'm going to die. I'm a human who contains many emotions, and I just have to learn how to slowly let each one show. When I first found out I would be attending CSG, I was filled with fear and curiosity at the fact that I would be leaving the city and moving to the middle of nowhere for 4 months. Here at CSG, I found out that I could be vulnerable and that it's okay to cry, feel sad, and cry in labs, although I laughed at Carrie for admitting it. I learned that even some of the most successful people can struggle and have difficulties when it comes to accomplishing a difficult task, but overall anyone can do anything they put their mind to. Although I now know that being a human is hard, I learned that I'm a very determined person when it comes to work and getting everything done. I also found out that I am filled with many emotions. What can I say? I am a very emotion-filled person. I know that I am filled with all these emotions and that it's okay if I'm happy at one moment and in the next I'm dying. Overall, I'm me and I still don't know who I am. So I'm an emotion-filled teenager from Los Angeles who is slowly discovering who she truly is and what she wants to do with her life. CSG is a place that somewhat forcefully helped me learn about myself. At the beginning, I surprisingly didn't know much about myself. One clear example I have is that I once told my bunk room about how messy I was, and that I didn't care about having a mess anywhere, but I guess I lied. I found out how much I love organization and how I'm quite crazy when it comes to staying neat. Meredith once compared me to a soldier when it comes to making my bed each morning. Not only did I discover the fact that I'm a clean person, but I also discovered that I'm a determined person who tries their best in doing what they want to do. Not only am I determined academically, but I found out that if I really want something, I'll go for it. For example, I wanted to attend CSG for the fall semester, but I didn't get accepted. So I applied again, and here I am at the end of the spring semester reading my manifesto in front of a group of people I don't even know. CSG definitely played a big role in who I am now. I basically left my home in Los Angeles and I had to make my way here to Freeport, where I learned to be independent and I sometimes did rely on others, and I learned that that's okay. To me, being independent was doing laundry by myself for the very first time. So I guess I have learned to be independent, and I now know that I can be independent and I can still rely on other people. Being independent does not always mean you're alone, but now I realize that I can be surrounded by others and still be independent. I learned that I value friendship. I've made friendships here at CSG that are amazing, and I feel really connected to just about everyone. I remember the very first welcoming circle we had, and I was terrified and sleep deprived from being on a plane for a whole night. I remember looking around and just thinking to myself, wow, I don't know anyone here. How will I ever become close to them and actually talk to them? I was actually really scared, but slowly I discovered that it wasn't so hard to make new friendships. I slowly began talking to new people, whether it was about the food or the weather. I still remember clearly talking to Maeve about the weather and asking her how to layer. I had never been in snow before arriving here in Maine, and I remember going to the first solo when it was about -2 degrees outside, and I hardly had any layers on. Hypothermia actually crossed my mind as my thighs were numb and I could no longer feel my face. Those are the moments that I will never forget, and I will always remember Maeve telling me that warm pairs of socks would keep me warm. Something that both Maine and Maeve have taught me would be to wear many layers when it's cold and snowing outside. I'm human and I'm learning. I don't exactly have control over what I learn because I just learn every day and pretty much every second. Like how to layer. I unexpectedly learned that just by attending the first solo. Here at CSG, I have learned to be a scientist and to try new things. Since attending CSG, I could tell you so much about Alexandrium fundense and about invasive species along the Maine coast. I now know things that I never thought I would know. It's quite weird how now I might go into what I call the real world and walk into some of my favorite stores and think that the lights look like diatoms, or overhear someone's conversations on the street and then wonder if they were talking about salinity. I find it quite weird how I know so much now, and I can finally say I'm a scientist. I discovered my curiosity in science and also the curiosity in myself to allow myself to try new things. Before coming to CSG, if you had asked me what an adventure was, I would have said that an adventure is climbing up a mountain for 100 miles and having to hunt for your own food. Due to my curiosity, I have now formed a new definition of adventure, which is an event that is memorable to you that you will remember no matter what may occur in the future. For example, coming here to CSG, I consider everything from brushing my teeth to walking to solo, going to Ben & Jerry's for free cone day, whispering at night so the RAs don't hear you talking after lights out, and even emergency room visits as adventures. I learned that everything could be an adventure as long as you make it one. My 4 months here at CSG have been an adventure, and no, I have not been hunting for my own food, or haven't got lost in the middle of nowhere. I learned that adventures can be anything, and I decided that my CSG experience is an adventure. I think I could make a greater impact on my community with expressing to people the importance of living in the present moment. I have struggled with living in the present because I always find myself thinking about the past or the future. While being here at CSG, I've learned to live in the present with the help of mindfulness. I have learned to be mindful whether it was to eating a strawberry in the middle of leadership or sitting on my favorite red chair under the willow tree and just sitting alone reflecting on my life. I have learned through mindfulness to focus on what I'm really feeling and what is really happening around me. So I think I could help people in my community to do the same. Something else I think I could take back to Los Angeles could be the fact that it's okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but here at CSG I have learned that being vulnerable is okay. Like I said before, I have many feelings, and here at CSG I have shown just about everyone from being the happiest I can be to being unhappy. I think people need to realize that being vulnerable is okay. Dia, an RA, told me that it's okay to feel sad and have different feelings from your peers. I feel like I can make that impact by informing even just my relatives and friends about mindfulness and vulnerability and the fact that it's all okay. I'm Isabella, the one that always expresses the fact that she's dying. But I've learned that being vulnerable and mindful is quite difficult, but here I am. I've survived. Mindfulness and vulnerability is very difficult actually, but as long as you're aware of it, it'll slowly get easier. I've taken learning and doing everything here at CSG as an adventure. I will therefore tackle this challenge as an adventure. At the beginning of this presentation, I explained the fact that I don't know who I am, but I think I might have just started to get the idea. I'm a 15-year-old emotion-filled teenager who has come to Maine and learned how to be vulnerable and has discovered the determination in herself. I can tackle adventures of any kind, and I now made my life an adventure. I will continue to do that. Even if I may not succeed in accomplishing all that I want to do in life, I will still live and do what makes me happy, because that's who I am. Now my adventure in Maine has come to an end, but I know that in a few hours, I will be on a plane going to Los Angeles in order to get to my new adventure. So that's about it, and I hope that you guys enjoy learning about me, and I hope every one of you goes out and creates new adventures.